My oldest kid is already riding 75 feet, doing decent tricks. My 15-year-old is doing the BMX part of the show. Every time they ride, I'm pretty sure I grow new gray hairs in my head, in my beard. It's really getting up to me watching them ride.
Once you get gray pubes, it's over with. So keep an eye out for that.
Speak for yourself there, Maestro.
That's fucked up, man. That's like just straight going right over the bars right there.
So what's up, Javier? You just got a last minute invite to X Games. How was that?
Oh, that thing was a wild ride, man. I was not ready at all. I did get a call a few months ago about joining X Games because they had a couple spots open. They asked me if I have any tricks that I could do at Best Trick, and I'm like, guys, I don't even have a phone bit. I don't have access to a phone bit. The best trick I can do is a surfer take-up tsunami flip. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's cool, but, not Best Trick X Games cool. So, yeah, fair enough. Never heard from them again until Tuesday before X Games. I was power washing my pool, getting rid of all the 5 years of algae piling out there. And they hit me up about it, and I told you guys what I have. Like, I don't have nothing like big for best tricks. I did that'll work. We just need we didn't need you to medal. We need you to like fill in the spot because one of our riders got hurt and another of the riders got problems with his visa. So I said, okay, I'm in. I loaded my bike that same day and head to Ventura.
There you go.
Wow.
Which is not too far for you. That's probably 3 hours.
Yeah, about 3 hours. When I was beating traffic. Every time I got traffic, it went over 4 hours. But yeah, it was worth the shot. I mean, I had a chip over my shoulder with X Games. The last time I was there was 2014, and I broke my femur, left on an ambulance. The year before that was 2013, was when my handlebar snapped off the bike and I broke my hip. So my last two visits to X Games, I left on an ambulance, and I really wanted to clean that slate and clear it and move on with my life. It was something was really bothering me that last times I went to X Games when I was trying to medal, I got hurt. And this time I wasn't going to medal. I was just going there, riding, do my best trick I could, and drive home with my bike and my truck, and me driving my truck.
So Javier, welcome to our podcast. And you're talking to myself, John Freeman, Dana Nicholson, my partner in crime, or whatever we've done over about 30 years, and Clint Epicito, our wizard behind this podcast. And Javier, let's roll back in the years. When we actually met you, I don't think that you were actually speaking very much English. You were coming over from Chile, I believe, and you can correct me, but I think we met you through Rudy Waller and Kenny Yoho. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was the same year I actually met Clint also. That was my first visit riding to the United States.
Yeah.
Early
Where were we when we met you? Where were we at when we met you? I can't remember where we met you the first time.
It was somewhere in Florida, because I remember I went to stay with Rudy. I did a couple of shows with Clint, and that's when I met Clint at Dayland, the bike week show we did in Dayland. And just a couple of days later, we went to film with you guys, and that's when I met you. And I was like way over my head trying to show off for you guys, and ended up just missing my grab on the biggest jump I ever done at the moment.
Yeah, we heard about this guy from Chile, and there you were. You went flying in front of us and just annihilated yourself, and we called you the Flying Chili Bean from thereafter.
Yeah, that wasn't a great debut for me. I was like really trying to. I was like on
that day, because that was a big one.
Yeah, I was like,
there it is. There it is. Oh, you went for Superman.
I went for a Superman Secret. I recently learned them, probably a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And
so for the
I was
fans
in front of the Crusty guys.
That's where we first met him, right there, for the fans out there.
And I remember jumping that thing a couple times. I did a few jumps on it. And there's, I can do a secret about this. And I went for it, fully got the wrong pop. I didn't even went for my grab. I freaked out and I jumped off my bike and landed at the bottom of that transition, broke my ankle. It was, I mean, for what it wasn't that bad. I broke my ankle and my brand new helmet because I bought that helmet on that trip.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Oh,
no, you do
I
go.
got a question for you.
You do go for your grab.
Right.
Look, you go for a grab and then go back to your bar.
Yeah.
And then you go, uh-oh.
Yeah, back then I didn't know how to do regular Supermans. So when I saw myself on that position, I was like, oh, damn, I'm going to smash my balls on the seat. So I bailed off the bike thinking I was going to slide down the ladder.
Slide in, yeah.
Yeah, but I went too deep.
Well, you could have thrown a flying squirrel later on. It was Link Hogel there that day? Do you remember? Was that one?
No, I think it was just Rudy and Kenny and Jason Thorne.
Oh, and Thorny.
Yeah.
Thorny. That's probably when we first met Thorny.
Yeah, Link Hogel was when the year after when you guys went to Chile. That's when Link Hogel went there.
Yeah, and we met you there for a Supercross.
Yeah, for a Supercross.
And you guys did the halftime extravaganza. Freestyle was Mad Mike was there. We were with you as well, Rudy, who else? Link Hogel and Sink Mars.
Yeah, and Kenny Yoho too, because I remember Yoho crashing at the Deuce in Chile.
Oh God, that one. He got worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hit like sandpaper on that one, and then got on that airplane to go to Easter Island, and he was just a mess, like a bleeding mess. Yeah. And we're flying to an island with dengue fever and all that kind of stuff, but we didn't really care.
Yeah, I missed that trip because I couldn't afford it at the moment. And
yeah, that was a hard one. I had to work, just so people out there know what we're talking about. We went to Easter Island, which is, they call like the belly button of the earth. And it's right next to Chile, and Chile actually owns the Easter Island, the Rapa Nui. And it's this tiny little place, has great waves, big waves on the other side. And then it has all the ancient heads that is like a mystery. And that's part of Chile. Maybe you could tell us a little bit around that. What is the mystery of, that Chile got involved with Easter Island?
I mean, as much as really close to Chile, it's not. I would say it's probably as far as Hawaii is from California. So I know it's like
5-hour flight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Near kind of going towards Tahiti.
Yeah. Well, so actually, I'm not really instructed on this, but I'm pretty sure like people really don't know what those heads mean. Like, they like build this big like statues and heads out of volcano rock.
Yeah, the volcano. Yeah.
Yeah, and the legend says like they pretty much deforested the whole island, moving those heads from one side of the island to another, just chopping trees and rolling those big heads and making them walk all the way to the other side of the island.
And how did they do it? Because man and machine didn't exist back then.
No, they were saying like they cut the trees so they could roll
there's some of our stuff there.
Hey, check it out. Wait, I made a shirt the other day. Can you see this? Watch. There's the guys right here. Wait.
You gotta lower it.
Well, this thing's like fucking reverse. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you see that? It's got the
and Rudy Waller coming out from the Sacred like 7 or something.
It's funny.
I don't even know how you guys pulled that off because people is not even allowed on that area.
Well, we didn't go. We didn't go.
It took 3 months. It took 3 months talking to the tourism board, and the promoter. You know that guy. Was his name like Carlos or something?
Carlos and Miguel.
Yeah, and so I worked with him for 3 months, and we got a no, and then I made him like a beautiful piece of all the like Africa, Brazil, New Zealand places we've been, and they looked at it more of like a National Geographic kind of piece. So I presented it that way, and I think we shot it that way, as a beautiful piece. So, of course, when we got there, they said, "Oh, don't ride around these sacred ones," and that's where we first built a jump.
Yeah, well,
don't ask for permission. Just apologize later, I guess.
Yeah, because I know Easter Island, they're not big on tourism. Like they don't want any big hotels or golf courses or nothing. So the fact that you guys pulled that off is just amazing.
And here's your sand dunes here that we're playing on screen.
Oh yeah, I used to love riding there.
Yeah, how beautiful is that place?
There's Yoho.
There's Yoho. Got work. Yeah, but that place was beautiful. What's the name of this
Ritoque.
Ritoque?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because where Yoho crashed, that was Concon, and
that was like some steep stuff right next to the ocean there.
Yeah, and right next to the buildings and everything, like the houses and everything. This was a little bit further away.
Yeah,
and it's still like a favorite place for all the motor riders in Chile. They still go there.
Yeah,
people from around that area to ride as much as they can until
Yeah,
they start building more stuff down there.
So Javier, how did you grow up in Chile and with dirt bikes, and that became your passion, obviously? How did that work? Growing up in Chile.
Well, it was my dad and my uncle. They used to race when they were younger, and then my cousins they got their bikes and started racing too. And I got into it because I used to go watch them ride, and I had a lot of fun watching, imagining that I was one of them riding. Till I was about 7, my dad got me a bike. But I lived in a city like far south Chile, like close to Pucón, to where we were during the volcano.
Yeah.
And there wasn't much moto down there. Like I was probably the only one riding for a few years with my dad until we went back to Santiago, the capital city, and I started racing more seriously. And that's when I really got into it. And it was right about the time that you guys came out with Crusty. So you basically shaped my taste on what I wanted to do while riding. Like I wanted to do like big jumps and dumb shit every time I was riding my dirt bike. And my dad wasn't a big fan of that because it was costing him clutch levers and handlebars every time I tried to do the things he was doing.
Yeah. So what got you involved in thinking that you could come into the American scene and come over? I guess, would it be like Rudy and some of the guys that helped you get to America?
It was definitely Rudy, the one that opened the door for me to go to America, to come to America. Because all I could see, all the moto feedback that I would get, it would be from Crusties and Terra Firmas and whatever I would see on ESPN, all the freestyle contests that used to show up on ESPN back in the day.
Yeah.
And I knew that staying in Chile, I wasn't going to have any access to that. So my goal was to make it and move into the United States. And I didn't know how. I got lucky enough that back in 98, 99, my dad got promoted on his company and we moved to Brazil. And the moto scene in Brazil was pretty strong. I went there. I rode with the guys that helped you guys shot down there.
In Brazil?
In Brazil. I don't remember the name.
The three brothers?
No, not the three brothers. The guys that were filming, not the guys that got you there. Like the guys that were filming with. Because they showed me all this footage they had of you. And took me to some sand dunes in Rio de Janeiro and all that area.
Yeah.
And that's when they started like doing all these trick contests at their supercross races, and that's when I got into freestyle for real. Then I moved back to Chile, and they hit me up saying they're gonna do a big supercross, and they're gonna have some FMX like a trick show on their intermission, and that's when I met Rudy. That was December '99, at the end of December '99, or sorry, December 2000, and then I talked to Rudy, and Rudy told me if I wanted to go hang out with him for a couple of weeks. And I spent all the money I had, and I went there, met you guys, met Clint, and the rest was just like straightforward. Like this is what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do racing anymore. I just wanted to do tricks, hit ramps, do free riding, and all the stuff that you guys were showing.
When we met you, were you speaking pretty good English already? I forget.
No, not at all. Like my English, I was just coming out of high school. I don't think I was even finished with high school. Yeah. And they just teach us like really basic English. So I remember understanding a lot of the things that you were saying, not all of it.
Yeah.
But not being able to speak back.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember we were trying to talk to you after that accident, and I don't think you had any English to explain what was going on with your broken ankle or whatever was broken. And yeah, but Rudy was there, and he's from Panama, so yeah, he's just interprets for us all the time.
Yeah, but Rudy also remembers that right after this, you guys, we all went to a bar, and I couldn't even get in the bar because I was 17, so I had to wait at the car with a broken ankle, and then they took me home.
We did that to you?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, but that was the second thing Rudy did to me, because the first one, no, actually it wasn't Rudy, it was Kenny. Freaking Kenny.
Yeah, that's how it goes. You got to hang out outside. Yeah. Sorry if you can't get in the bar.
With a broken ankle. Yeah,
no, but like before I got hurt, Kenny Yoho and Jason Thorne took me to a titty bar. They tried to sneak me in, and they asked for my ID, and they saw my little bird. They sent me back to a car, and I spent like an hour or so in the car.
Yeah,
while these guys were having fun at the titty bar.
Nice. And then when you came over with Kenny Yoho and Rudy Waller, did since Rudy was kind of doing the same thing, coming from Panama and trying to get into the freestyle stuff, did he kind of walk you into that with him?
Yeah, he helped me a lot. Like he actually arranged me a bike for me to ride there. He actually got me 2 shows there. Like he was really helping me out and gave me some techniques and everything. And then, I mean, we were young and all that, but then we started like hitting each other, like, colliding into each other, because I was basically taking jobs from him. I started getting good.
Well.
Yeah, I started writing better, so I started getting shows, and every show I would do, it would mean another show he wasn't doing for a little bit. Then we started doing a bunch of shows together, and we reconnected, and I owe him a lot, dude. Like I owe him a lot for all the help he gave me, all the guidance, and dude, like he got me on the spot. Like if it wasn't for him, it would have taken me a lot longer to make it to the US, and it did take me a long time to make it.
Yeah. I think that's what Rudy found as well in racing. He came over here and saw guys like McGrath, even though he was like a equivalent of McGrath in Panama. I think he had an awakening over here, just going, wow, these guys are freaking gnarly. Because Rudy was teaching everybody in Panama just so somebody could come in second and just even be closer to him.
That's basically what I did in Chile and South America. I was just trying to push FMX in South America, so that way Rudy and I weren't the only ones, and we could have like a whole scene. Like I have for years I had no one to ride with except for Rudy. Like Rudy and I were the only riders in South America for a couple of years. Yeah, and then I got a couple of friends from Chile that came in and out from freestyle. From Argentina, same deal. Brazil started picking up pretty good. But it took years for the South American scene to pick up, and it's still struggling. Like there's good riders, but like they're so scared of making the move to go for the bigger stuff that they stay in their own country, and that makes them hard for them to to stand out.
Yeah, and you kind of took the leap. Go ahead, D.
What's cool is like since we've been doing these podcasts and talking to people, John and I making these movies. I'm starting to look back, and I'm realizing, like, we looked forward, and a lot of times we don't really like pay attention to like what we've been doing looking back. And it's amazing how many people from around the world have, like you, have come to America and made their way and through, the sports or extreme sports or whatever you want to call it, be it racing or freestyle or just filming or just being here, knowing the right people, you know what I mean? And it's like Taka's story, just looking on Google Maps and trying to find somebody with a jump in their backyard to find a place to ride, and he walked up on Twitch's house, you know what I mean? And things like that, you know what I mean? And
he just on a whim, he didn't Twitch or anybody, and Taka, with a few $1,000s, decided instead of stay in Japan, like you're saying, people stay in their own countries, he took a gamble and took a few grand, and that's all he had, and he just knocked on Twitch's house. Hello, I'm Taka. Oh, who are you, little guy? You want to ride with us? All right. And that's, kind of these stories, how that happens. You got taken in by Rudy and brought over to America, and you took that challenge. So that's cool.
It was pretty cool. Connect around the world, like people from around the world end up not really just moving here, but connecting and creating a network,
Yeah.
I mean, and then, we're talking 30 years ago. There was no social media, nothing. Like the only freestyle news I would get, it was waiting yearly for either your videos or Terra Firma's or whatever other company was making videos. That was the only update I would get on FMX for about 10 years before I actually made the leap and left everything behind in Chile.
And there was magazines like Racer X kind of coming up.
But, but they wouldn't sell in Chile. Like,
oh, okay.
Like I would get them when my dad would get like a business trip to the US, and he would come back with a backpack full of magazines, and we're just like, eating those things, like, seeing what was going on, what was new, what tricks were being done. And it was an amazing journey, like to start when I remember, because the first moto video I saw was Crusty. That was the first moto video, and I thought
probably on VHS,
and I'm pretty sure it was highly pirated in Chile. Like one of our friends, one of our friends that the only one that would come to the US to race, and would go back to Chile with all these videos, and we would all copy those tapes. I'm pretty sure mine was like a 4th generation tape. Like it was recorded from someone else's recording, because the quality of my video wasn't great.
A thing up to a TV and filming it like this.
It was a great journey to go through all that, and waiting every year to see what was new, what was the new trick, what was the new jump, what you guys were doing, and try to replicate it down there.
Cool.
As I look back now, you know what I mean? Like I was telling John the other day, because I was watching like 1, 2, 3. We're doing like up res and into high res, right? So I was watching them and kind of getting sucked in, and I was like, it's not that like I don't know if it was like the newness of what we were doing, or how we were doing it, or how we were editing, or like what was the allure? Because like I watched, like, you ride Beaumont now, right?
Yeah.
You're out in Beaumont, and like I see stuff at Beaumont and everything, and it's like, man, all the takeoffs and everything. I mean, I get it, but they got carpet all over the fucking hills and shit like that. I don't know if they still do that stuff, like on the takeoffs for the ruts and everything.
Yeah, but it's also I see the point on that. It's it takes away from the free riding, but also it's because the thing is so massive now that you build a jump, and within 2 days it's trash unless you carpet it. So basically, they're just trying to build a jump and make it last for a couple months before it gets blown out by everyone.
Just run it,
And that's because there is no grass, though. Once you get rid of the grass, there's no roots, and now it wants to just wash away as soon as the face gets wet. So I mean, I think that I agree.
Yeah, remember when you watch all those videos, we're the ones that built all those jumps. We're the ones that made Beaumont and made all that stuff back in the day. You know what I mean? And our intention wasn't to like, make it a 4-foot highway, like with snowboard jumps. You know what I mean? We used to make snowboard jumps. Well, right? Like in snowboard jumps, when we'd film snowboard movies, we would boot out a track or this or that. My whole goal when I used to be a snowboarder was to make a jump that somebody else wouldn't jump. But our whole goal was to film a stupid movie, and that's who we were back then. And I don't know, some of it carried over, but the whole like, I might
and that's
get it.
Why, and that's why Dana always plans his crash.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I didn't land everything. I crashed the fuck out of shit. If you look at our old snowboard movies, but I used to huck it. It might be on gear, but the way the the hills and everything look nowadays. I mean, I get it. I for a little bit we started. Remember in Canada when we were putting takeoffs in front of knolls. You know what I mean? Remember that, Johnny, with Thorny? And that was kind of cool because we were creating some sick areas to make good jumps. good landings. All we had to do was find a good landing and didn't have to worry about a takeoff.
But guys weren't doing that in the hills back then either.
Canada.
They weren't doing that backflips in the hills in the 90s.
Is that Beaumont right there?
Well, because nobody did a backflip, but at the same time, nobody nowadays will go to Ritchie Canyon and go down Swanson Hill or go up Kamikaze. Like, it's still there. Anybody who's watching this podcast that knows where and what Ritchie Canyon is and what Kamikaze is, there's nobody that'll go boot out.
Is that the big cliff?
That's the big face in Kamikaze, the big face wall where Seth did, and Joel Albrecht was the master of it.
Oh, I remember that one, dude. I love
the Swanson Hill.
I asked people to take me there. I never been to that one in Ritchie Canyon. I don't even know if it still exists with all the Amazon warehouses.
Yeah, that's why.
Kamikaze, it's probably there.
Nobody goes over there, Javier, because there's the neighborhood on the other side, and they don't want to make noise over there, I think.
Nobody's jumped Kamikaze since back in the day. No one.
All right, when are we going?
I don't think I would.
I mean, listen, I jumped it. The reason half these dudes did it because I did it, and my whole theory is I'm a snowboarder. I can fall down the face of anything. I can't do a double jump or a triple jump, but I could eat shit on an uphill or a downhill because you're just falling off a cliff. I'm okay with that. That's a dumb theory, but that was my theory, I guess.
I was going to say.
As long as there's snow on you, right?
Well, I don't know. Remember, like was it Crusty 1 or 2 where Mike Healy jumped in the fuzzy pants down that step down? Nobody would do it, so I put my camera down and called them all bitches.
Javier, we're breaking up. A little bit.
Are we breaking up?
I can hear you guys.
And you planned your crash.
Yeah, and cool. Tommy got all pissed because I fucking ate shit on his bike. But no, I can respect flipping the hills.
That's the way it was back then.
When you're doing backflips and shit in the hills, right? Like the difference between nowadays with the airbags. What do you think about I mean, you're old school. You've seen a lot of people go through a lot of stuff. And I get it when you're doing a show and just doing repetitive shows every weekend and the setup and everything. But what do you think? As like a rider, like when you do certain tricks and do airbags, do you still do it in the dirt or in a sense to a normal ramp? Or there's things that now people could only do and will only do on an airbag?
I don't know, dude. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, if you can do it on an airbag, you can do it on a dirt landing. The only difference is, like, when you, like, especially now that you have all these fair shows, they get to ride every day for 14 days. The airbag is a lot better on your body. But
yes, it's a lot easier, right, on your body.
Yeah, but also, like, the airbags can take you out ways that dirt landings. There's let's say you do a double can and you get tangled on your seat. On a dirt landing, you can always side saddle and ride that out. You can miss your handlebars and still ride out. But on the airbag, if you're not like both feet on the pegs and both hands on the handlebars, chances of the airbag taking you out because the thing is going to be bouncing and shaking different ways, it's high. I mean, it is safer to crash, to let go of your bike and land on the airbag with no bike and walk away. But if you start going down on the airbag, you're gonna hit the ground hard. It's like the airbag found all new ways for you to crash. That on the dirt is a little bit more stable. Like I hated airbags for a couple of years, and now I'm okay with them until Nitro Circus made it part of their inventory that we're riding airbags every show. And at the beginning, when they just told us that, I thought it was time to hang the boots. I didn't have any other source of income, so I had to man up and just get used to airbags. And now I'm okay with them. Like, they're good for some stuff, but they're pretty bad for some other.
Well, I've seen how, like, you know, when you're doing outdoor shows,
that's pretty awesome.
As soon as it gets a little dewy, flip it out, you know what I mean? When the moisture goes.
Oh yeah, that's awful. You can still do that you can still ride like that on portables and dirt landings, but on airbags, it shows over as soon as it gets like that. I've seen people just slide down the landers with a little bit of moist.
Dude, we did shit because, you know, like doing shows in Australia where it's, you know, on the coast everywhere, and we've seen the promoter taking like merch T-shirts and they're wiping down the landings and panicking because it's too slippery, and you know, then sometimes they're so big that the guys just disappear into the airbag, and it's like, you know, I think the old landings made it more intense because they would make a lot of noise. Like the XGames landing, wasn't that necessarily like a hard landing with the resi mat per se, right?
Yeah, it was like a big scaffolding landing with a mat on top and some carpet on top of the mat.
And then
it
dirt.
It wasn't as soft as it looked.
They used every material they could find in that landing.
Yeah.
So they used everything but air.
Yeah.
It wasn't that soft. It wasn't that soft for how it looked. Like I still got, my neck was pretty sore at the end of XGames.
Well, I mean, since it is called the dirt bike.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But that landing did look a little bit harsh, and then it had like that weird dip in it towards the bottom. Was that?
Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah, like you looked like you'd bounce and then you'd land in like underneath, like down towards the bottom. There was more like a dip in it before it started to transition. My power went out, so we finished the podcast a month later. When we left off, we were talking about how weird the landing was at XGames.
Yeah, that freaking, where was it, like
scaffolding, dirt, mat.
Yeah, scaffolding, plywood, a mat, the carpet on top, and for some reason some dirt at the bottom that played it did nothing for us.
So since then,
dirt at the bottom for reason.
Yeah, they just wanted to use all the surfaces that they could.
That's funny.
But since then, you've been very busy. You've been doing a lot of shows, correct?
Yeah, I've been shows almost every week, and since nonstop, I'm getting to a point that I'm feeling it. I'm starting to getting a little bit worn out, but keep pushing it. I mean, I still enjoy it. It's just like, especially when I have to do shows with my setup, my airbag, it's like, God damn it, dude, rolling this thing, folding it, all that. It's so much work.
Now you know what I did all the time through my whole career and why I suck so much, because I had too much other shit to do.
It is a lot of shit.
Javier, I got a question for you. So in this modern day times with airbags and shows, it seems like, you know, back in the day, riders, you show up, they do their show, and then they go to the party and wreck shit. Nowadays, it seems like at the end of the show, it's a common practice for the riders to all have to go out and actually roll the airbag up. Is that correct?
Yes. Like every show that involves an airbag, except for like the bigger shows, like big productions, like Nitro Circus and stuff like that, they have a whole crew that does it for us. But all the other shows, we have to do it, because if you don't do it correctly, you end up damaging the bag, and that's, you know, no show next weekend. So that's basically why we do it.
That's because we're poor over here, and we always had to do it ourselves.
But it's not like you can grab a couple like kids from the local town and tell them, hey, guys gonna help us fold it. You got to know what you're doing, how to fold it, how to roll it. If not, the thing's too wide, too big, it won't fit on the trailer. So you basically have to be a pro at rolling things. I'm pretty sure Clint would do pretty good at that.
Well, we've always had, you know, full bump in and bump out crew, and you know, which of course they've always hated me, because as soon as they, you know, loaded the whole show out the next morning, I go open the semi and show up with a pickup truck and pull bikes out of the semi so that us and a couple riders can go ride. And of course, to them, the promoter is, no riders next week, no show because we break them filming. They didn't like that. But I noticed with the airbags, it's like, man, it almost seems like you got to it's a rider cooperation to all go out there, stay after the show, roll the thing up where, for the most part, back in the day, people would be like, I ain't touching that fucking thing,
Yeah, I did notice that. It's not like, it's like a common courtesy now. Like, we all know it sucks, so it has to suck for everyone now.
I never did shows where you just show up and ride shit, so I'm used to it.
That's all we did.
I mean, I did it for a few years, and it was freaking amazing.
I've always been the lackeys loading ramps and doing everything else.
I will say that I'm the guy that has been responsible for showing up to the show late with Bubba and Seth and myself, driving down the sidewalks to get to the venue because the show opened up with the athletes hiding in the audience, you know what I mean? And the spotlight would hit them and they'd uncover them. They had to put stand-ins for Seth and Bubba.
That's hilarious.
We were busy. We came in hot, but the whole airbag thing, because as we embark on these, we're putting a little American thing we're going to cruise around with. I was just kind of curious on, man, does that kind of go right in the rider contracts or just a courtesy thing?
That's budget wise. If I had in the past money to pay people to help me break down stuff. So Javier's always had a hand in the breakdown crew because on my shows, it's how it always was. Because I don't have a bunch of people, so it was like people had to be involved and help me break down. But,
there you are, Johnny.
So Javier's helped with that, but I do understand people that are a little bit bigger. I try to give them more leeway and not really force them to do that stuff.
Hey, Free Dog, you're back. Yeah, perfect. We're back on. We're talking about how at the end of the shows, how the riders go out and roll the airbags up, which is kind of cool. The one time we did that in Australia with that big double wide thing. That's one thing with the singles, is because those big double wides, it's not no joke trying to fucking fold up and roll up a double wide.
Even the regular ones are a pain in the ass.
How many guys do you figure, Javier, it takes to roll up like a double wide like that?
Oh, like a double wide? Holy crap, I don't know.
That's a lot of guys. That's
because on mine,
pretty big.
Anything minimum on mine, there's a single. 4 minimum. Yeah. And anything after 6, 7, we just get on the way. Yeah. So it can't be that many either. It's like I would say 4, 6 is like ideal. Strong guys, so like 4, 6 weak guys doesn't work.
And then compare that to building scaffolding landers back in the day. How many guys did that take?
He wasn't involved in that, so he has no idea.
I was in the locker rooms when that was happening.
Back in the day.
Yeah, but I was in the locker room when that was happening, so I don't know.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of production people out on the floor or out on the speedways or wherever we're performing. But yeah, hell of a lot of people to build those scaffolding ones.
Yeah, they weren't too bad though. I don't think they were too bad to build up. It's a matter of just
it was about getting the materials, getting them on trucks.
Yeah. You need less trucks with an airbag than you do with wood.
Wood and steel or aluminum.
I think that's the trade out. Is they're easier to ship and maneuver an airbag. You just drop a pallet off on the fucking in a pile and.
Yeah, but you can put it in the back of a little trailer or something, and it's not like this big, huge air dam, which is the issue with not necessarily. I mean, even scaffolding, right? It still needs to be put into something big and transported, whereas you can cut down what you're traveling with, like tremendously as far as weight and just volume.
Especially weight, dude, because like scaffolding is heavy, and airbags are heavy too, but. You get a massive airbag, and it's not as heavy as all the scaffolding that you need for landing as big.
Or even a regular landing. My landing, I think, was like 8,000 pounds, just the landing part of that truck.
Yeah.
And any trailer you have is going to be like that much. What's a bag weigh? Like 1,000 maybe?
I think it's about around 1,500 the most.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Javier, what is your favorite trick that you have today?
Today. Well, depends on the ramp too, because I ride these different ramps that we have now. Like on the, I would say like on the regular ramp, I really enjoy doing lazy boy flips.
Lazy boy flips.
Yeah. On the
tell the average person, what is a lazy boy flip? How do you even come up with that?
Well, the lazy boy flip, I like it a lot because it's very technical. It's not like, you can't just go yank as hard as you can for a backflip and go for the trick. Yeah. You actually have to gauge your rotation. You got to get a slow rotation because the motion that you do on the bike speeds up the rotation. And because you got to get all the, like your hip and everything as close as you can to the handlebars and laid back on the bike. And all that motion speeds up the rotation so much that if you do a regular flip, you're landing on your ass.
Yeah. How did you learn those? Into a foam pit?
Oh, no.
No, you just basically halfway through a front flip or back flip, you just pretend you're at the beach, lay it back in the fucking chair, and then you wake back up and remember that you're on a dirt bike.
Yeah.
It's basically that. No, but I don't practice many of my tricks on the foam pit because it's too much work. It's too much work. Every time I go to a foam pit, I get like 5-7 jumps and I'm beat. Because if you don't land properly on a foam pit, dude, getting out of there is so much effort.
Do you ever get claustrophobic in one of those things?
Oh, yes.
I know that me and Dana do. We've landed upside down in those things. And
it's awful.
If somebody's not digging you out, that's horrible. If you don't have anybody coming to get you.
Yeah, no, it's awful. And the more effort you do to get out of there, it's worse. Like you just get exhausted.
Right?
Exhausted and go nowhere. And it's hard to breathe. You got all this foam dust falling on your face. Sometimes you get some gas dripping on you, just hoping that it doesn't ignite.
A giant dirt bike laying on top of you.
Yeah, no, it's awful. No, I avoid foam pits as much as I can.
You avoided them from day one, because if I remember, you, I guess, learned flips off of a super kicker into a pit, and then your first 75 foot, you just ripped one.
Yeah, basically that. I did one of a regular ramp, like at 60 feet, into a tiny foam pit once.
Yeah.
Then I was, screw it. I'm not doing this again. I just went straight to dirt after that. And then I avoided them for a while. And
I think your friend Adam Jones has the same mentality or the same philosophy that he doesn't want to get stuck in a foam pit.
Yeah,
Am I correct?
Yeah, and they hurt. Like people think they're all this fun and everything. Yeah. The thing is, you get a little bit of separation between, a little bit of distance between you and your bike. You're hurting yourself pretty bad if you're not in full, like both hands, both feet on the bikes at all times into the foam pit. Just hurts you pretty bad. Yeah, on the lazy boy flip. Yeah.
Remember when Metzger's foam pit burnt down? That was a fucking.
Oh yeah, there's that.
That terrified everybody for a long time.
Still.
Yeah. Well, like you're saying, last thing you like is be as upside down to those stupid things, trying to swim out of it upside down. It sucks.
On fire.
Yeah. Well, Javier, tell us a little bit about maybe things that you have coming up. I know that we actually talked to you about maybe some of our shows coming up, but what's coming up for Javier?
Well, right now I'm doing a lot of shows, like almost every weekend. November is going to be a little bit slower. October, November are going to be a little bit slower for me.
Yeah.
But I'm focusing a lot on getting my own thing going on, like the Action Village, trying to do shows with both my kids. My oldest kid is already riding 75 feet, doing decent tricks.
How old is he?
20. He just turned 20.
Oh, 20. Cool.
Yeah. And my 15-year-old is doing the BMX part of the show. And he's also learning to ride dirt bikes, like learning to hit ramps. He's jumping at 55 feet. Yeah. He stopped riding dirt bikes for like 5-6 years, so I'm not pushing it very hard. I'm just taking it easy. Besides, every time they ride, I'm pretty sure I grow new gray hairs in my head, in my beard. It's really getting up to me watching them ride.
Once you get gray pubes, it's over with. So keep an eye out for that.
Speak for yourself there, Maestro.
Yeah, that's fucked up, man. That's like just straight going right over the bars right there.
That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Back to the ramps. I have a question for you. So on a basic show nowadays, these weekend warrior hillbilly shows or whatever, like these smaller shows, do you find
hillbilly
the normal 70? Well, I mean, like.
It's just come back for your other comment.
Well, I guess like a standard, speedway rodeo show or whatever, like a smaller monster truck filling show. What's the comparison on the super kicker ramps compared to regular comp ramp?
Or you mean like the next gen ramp?
Yeah, next gen ramp, whatever you want to call it. Like you're saying, like
is coming out. Bit of a difference on that one.
You're comparing your favorite tricks, and you said on the old school ramps you like lazy boy flips. So now compared to next gen ramp, and is that something that you expect to see at every show? Or
I would like to see that. The thing with the next gen ramp, you go a lot higher, so you can like do it at every closed venue, like open air venues, no problem. And I would like to see it a lot more, because definitely that ramp makes me feel 10 years younger doing tricks. Like I can do all my tricks. I have a lot more control. I can do even harder tricks, and I can actually learn new tricks on that thing. So I enjoy it a lot more.
Because the amount of time you have?
The time, the air time that you get, like the way that you can do flips on that, it's so much more controllable than it is on a regular 75, where you just like, you have to give it a good yank and then massive panic rev when you do your big flip combos. While on this next gen, you can give it a regular yank and you have a lot of control with your body. You don't have to panic rev or like brake tap to control it. You can just move your head around the bike and the rotation just slows down and speeds up. And that's why it allows me to do bigger tricks. And my favorite one on that one is doing the seat stand, the tsunami backflip. That's the one I enjoy the most doing on that one.
Nice. That's interesting. Okay, so I have a question for you. If we're going to put, say, some of the stuff we're doing in the future, and we do a next gen ramp and a regular ramp, how much different on the next gen ramps are the landings as far as like you suggest? Would you like to see a steeper special airbag for that ramp? So you do like, you know what I mean? A complete new setup.
It's I mean, the way we did it in Nitro, they have a wedge that goes under the airbag that picks it up and makes it taller and steeper. Because I've been jumping my regular super kicker, the one that goes at 45 feet, into my airbag, and the shape of the airbag makes, like, even if I land perfect, I bounce too hard. The landing has to be steeper for the different arch that you get on this ramp. So that'll help a lot. Like having a wedge that picks up the ramp, makes it steeper and a little bit taller, I think it would make it a lot better. So
what about doing a built-in wedge so you can air the wedge out or let it down?
Yeah, no, that's how we normally do it at Nitro, and I know a bunch of like these airbag companies are doing it that way nowadays.
Like it's almost more of a step up. So when you're actually coming into the landing, you're slowing down a little bit because you're wedging it up a bit.
Yeah, correct. Like I've never jumped into a regular landing of a next gen, but I heard it's pretty terrifying because you're dropping pretty high from it.
And that thing probably looks super flat when you're coming from that high.
Yeah.
How about electric bikes? Have you dabbled in those? See what they feel like these days, or?
I've never ridden one, but I'm not against it. I would like to try it. I mean, the fact that you don't have to shift gears, to get that extra wheel spin, sounds very appealing, especially for like double flips and all the cool things together. I think 360s are probably gonna be, more BMX-y with those bikes, and because the center of gravity is like a little bit more forward on those.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind trying it. I wouldn't mind trying it, but I'm not gonna spend the money on it.
You need a sponsor. Yeah. So Colby's dabbling in that. What do you think of that when you saw him in Ventura?
Well, I saw him and Patrick Evans. And I saw a lot of hate, especially on Patrick Evans, telling him like how the bike, he was cheating on an electric bike. And I mean, maybe it helps him, but I wouldn't say cheating because you still have to know how to whip to do that thing, like to get that. It's
you could give me an electric bike. Guess what? I'm not whipping like that. So.
Yeah, I mean, a few years ago, Nate was on the Alta, and he was at best whip, and he was nowhere near that level of whipping. Yeah. So, you still got to be pretty freaking gnarly. And Colby wasn't able to win quarter pipe, so it wasn't much help for him. The only help he was getting
about that close.
Yeah, but still, like the combustion engine still took it. But I think the biggest help was when you land. There wasn't that engine brake that at the end wears you out.
But if you watch Colby when he was doing quarter pipe, his technique had totally changed from the year before. Like he was leaning way forward over his bars, whereas the year before he was keeping more of a neutral. Yeah, exactly. More of a neutral stance and kind of like a regular whip. So I don't know if it was kind of just like he didn't have that push off of it because he didn't have the motor gyro or what was going on.
I mean, I look at it the same way people was giving hate to the airbags. Said it makes it easier. It's like, no, you actually have to learn how to ride them properly because if not, they're still gonna, they're not gonna help you that much.
When we had Taka do probably his first one, I think we took him to Australia or something, and he hated that thing. He's like, oh, 3 months on, I bounce. I don't like it. And
I hated them for 2 years too.
To do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to learn how to set them pressure-wise. I'm sure Javier knows now because even just being around the Johnny Rocket and those guys, I know that I rode one a little bit. So I just made them go as hard as they could with the back. And then they started making the top sheet hard and softening the underneath air pockets, so it kind of still gives a little bit, so your deck is still hard.
But you still have to learn how to ride them because if you're too heavy on the front, they're gonna flip you, and if you panic rev, it's gonna loop you. So you gotta learn a lot of stuff when you start riding airbags.
When they first came out, people were asked me, they go, hey, they thought they were going to get me. And they were like, so the airbags, what do you think about it? Because my whole career was basically before it. And I go, listen, I know people are, shitting on them. I go, and everybody's like, yeah, I was tough. I did it before. But let me tell you, if there had been airbag landings, 110%, I'd have been jumping to a friggin' airbag landing.
My knees would be a lot better right now.
Back in the day, our tours, we were the first ones that ever put out a resi mat, for Jacko or for was it Cam Sinclair with the double backs? Because
don't forget Scott Murray with the double backflip with the
and Scott Murray, and Jacko with
and Jimmy Blaze.
They would have been fucked without the resi mats, and we went through a lot of money, thicknesses.
Yeah.
Different, because some would suck them in, some would work. And then, that kind of the theory of, not trying to break a rider to get them to the next show or to be able to learn, the front flip in front of a crowd like that was amazing. And I think the airbag made it a little more forgiving and a little more but what took away, what I didn't like was the sound, because on the old school, when you did a show, especially an indoor show, and you'd land on them ramps and it'd be da-da-da-da-da, and a train, and it was fucking, your skin was crawling. You're excited. You're like, whoa, fuck, that was crazy. With the airbags, you lose a little bit of that, excitement. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of.
I have to agree. And now with the electric bikes, there's going to be no sound, dude.
Yeah, and to be fair, if you land on dirt, you're still landing on dirt, but you're still making noise. The bike's still the suspension, and you're still landing on noise. When you're landing in a catcher's mitt, I was talking to big airbag dudes about our setup's like, well,
a noisemaker when you land.
Yeah, exactly. something that's in between the top sheet of the bag and something else that just gives you a little bit of a slap sound or a little
whoopee
bit of
cushion.
Come on, when you're landing and it sounds like a fucking fart, like a little pussy fart.
Yeah.
Like you want it to be like katap.
You need it like
a little more.
Like those sticks that I don't know what they're like kung fu sticks or whatever, you know, when they hit, they're like bamboo and they got the slits in them, so it's like real loud.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm saying? There's something that was like gave you a little bit more of a feel of naturalism. I mean, because dude, in reality, it's a gnarly fucking sport. But when you take, you know, what you're doing, it's a gnarly fucking sport, and you're taking a 12-year-old kid, and it's, you know, you're landing, and he doesn't. He's like, oh, it's crazy, but they don't think of that like scariness, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I mean,
it does give a fake confidence to everyone that watches us. Like they think that, oh, dude, I could land into that big ass mattress too, but it's not quite like that. I landed on that mattress and it's not great.
Yeah, here you go, kids. Try it.
Downplays it a little bit, right? Like check this out. The other day I saw a shot of these dudes online. Okay, people are taking the Tesla trucks and they're hyping them up, making them all fucking off-roaded out, right? Well, this one dude had, you know, some of them are pretty cool. They're doing the right suspension, and obviously I race trucks, so I get it. Well, this one dude had a speaker underneath his Tesla, and he had it wired into the throttle, and he had it timed up, you know, to the sound of a trophy truck. So the guy was out railing in this fucking Tesla. Nice. That was all off-roaded out, but the movement and the sound matched the motor of a trophy truck. And it was fucking sick, dude. I was like, holy fuck.
I wouldn't be against that at all.
It looked badass, you know what I mean?
I wouldn't be against like electric bikes with that sound and then something that activates the sound on the lander. I would be all about it. It's a show. Right? It's a show. You got to give it to the crowd, like the whole experience.
Well, that's what it is. That's what it is. A show. It's a show. And like Johnny, you posted a thing of a dude in a red car or something doing a car jump today.
Oh, it's the General Lee. Yeah, just
I saw that.
Fucking the shit out of it.
As we Javier, developing this new show that we want to put out, I've been like, you know, kind of torn between this, you know, dirt, not dirt, and trucks and off-road and monster trucks and different elements. Now, besides our freestyle element and motorcycle element, I'm convinced that it's going to be the most gnarliest, stupidest stunt show, just with the weirdest, like, you know, from back in the day when I was a kid, there was a TV show called Stunt Masters. And I think that's the new tour. The new Crusty tour is just a full-blown, the dumbest stunt show you've ever seen ever.
Back to the roots, man. I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Like just.
I think we've done a few of those, D.
I know, but there's a lot of car stunts and all those crazy fucking hillbilly.
We'll go to the next level, right, Javier?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Like that's what I'm thinking. Like you know, like Roaring 20s where they fucking used to do the dumbest stunts ever. Make a train jump and shit. Like, we need to do. Sorry, but we need to do some dumb shit.
There's a lot of good old auto thrill stuff that nobody does anymore.
Yeah, well, it has to be short also. Like every segment has to be short because if you notice, like because of social media.
I got a helmet. You got a helmet. You got a helmet. We're gonna have some fun, boys.
Yeah, and as I was saying, like because of social media now, kids don't have like the attention span to watch a whole thing develop. There has to be like fast, quick, and like short 15-second action bits for them, one after the other.
That's true.
Yeah, but you know what though? It's those kids that can't get out of their fucking room and they want to just live on their phone and see these action bits. But like we need to create something to actually get these kids out of the house, like get them out there to actually.
Well, I'll tell you what, the kids that are around our neighborhood around here, I don't know if you have them, Javier, but we got like the Wheelie Kings.
Oh, kids we have some of those
years old. with the Stark bikes or whatever, you know, the Sarons, and they're just wheeling all over the place. We got new wheelie kings.
I think the electric bikes are helping the youth because a lot of them. I mean, if you look at it, like the Super 74s and all this bullshit, they look like little mini bikes. When I was a kid and I got my first fucking mini bike, you know, we would run home from school to ride the damn mini bike with the Briggs and the Stratton. And nowadays, it's almost like it's the new mini bike. It's a kid gets to go ride with his buddies. You don't have dad there. He's not at a track racing. He's just out doing his own dumb shit, you know, learning on his own how to build a little 1 foot jump in a field. And what's gonna turn out of it eventually is the next generation of you guys, us, everybody out here.
It's kind of in between like a BMX and a dirt bike at this moment.
Yeah,
because we got the dark ones, we got the little, you know, other
and the funniest here's the fucking funny thing. Here's the funny thing is when the dirt bike's gone or the motor combustion engine's gone, and you got some kid 15 years from now on some high-tech electric fucking shit doing his triple front flip fucking sideways helicopter spin or whatever we can't even imagine, he's going to be having the same argument with some other fucker.
Absolutely, hating on something else.
And you know what it's going to be?
About his anti-gravity bike.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fucking rocket. He's going to have a rocket assist bike with a rocket motor, and they're going to be like, well, why do you need a rocket motor when you got an electric? And the guy's going to be like, well, I can fly 470 feet with the rocket motor. And the guy in electric's going to be like, well, I can only go 400 feet. You're going 490 feet with a rocket. You know what I mean? Like,
and then they'll be like, "You're cheating. That's not the same."
It's gonna be the same. It's gonna be the same old story.
Yeah, here you go, bro. Take my rocket for a ride. See what you feel. Right?
Oh Jesus!
Because we went from hating the four strokes for how many years?
Yeah, exactly.
Now the electric, and it's gonna go on forever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take my rocket motor out of my jet. Look, I got one right. Where is it?
Oh, I got scared.
I'm going to take the rocket motor out of the jet, put it on a fucking Saron, and we'll just start the process right now.
There you go.
Next podcast, I'll be in the hospital with a burnt ass and a burnt back. I'm like, oh, fuck, my rocket.
I'm not going to lie, dude. When Dana said, I'm going to show you my rocket and start moving the camera, I freaked out.
You're excited, huh?
That's how excited Dana was about it. Yeah. His rocket was out.
Hey, guys, why don't we wrap up Javier for this one? We'll come back for a part 2, maybe on Javier, and see how you're doing down the track. And you might even be in one of our shows coming down the line, and we can talk about that. But great having you on as a guest, Javier. Always good to chat, see where you're at. You know, you're a father. You're, a maniac. When we met you broke all your stuff, and we called you the chili bean, the flying chili bean. So anyways, good to hook up with you, man.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, and I'm looking forward to being one of your shows and see where we can push this to.
Where,
Javier, how's your Ghost Ride game? Do you have a Ghost Ride game? Because I was like, man, we need to Ghost Ride some bikes in our show.
I have no sponsors. I have to pay for all of my parts, so I
He lays under his bike if he's crashing so that he has to buy less parts.
We'll have to bring you a bike that you can air out.
Oh, we can work on that.
We'll supply the Ghost Ride bikes. I just want to know if you got a Ghost Ride game.
Well, yeah, we can actually try it into an airbag and see how it works.
Perfect.
I was just going to make a target, but we can't.
That's a good game, actually.
Yeah.
No,
see who can launch the bike into the target.
Yeah. No, it's part
We've
of the
actually
show.
tried it a couple of times at shows.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking even do a dumpster, like put a dumpster out and see if you could send like a fucking 90-footer into the dumpster or like a goalpost or something.
That'd be perfect.
Yeah. The biggest thing is getting people to Ghost Ride and be able to step off a bike without
not die.
And not go with the bike.
We need to have dude, I got extra flat airbags and you can just ride next to it and jump off onto the airbag and shoot the bike into it.
There you go.
Nah, you just take a rope and you tie it around your waist and tie it to a pole and just shorten it like to where it just stops right before the jump.
Right before the ramp? That sounds terrible.
Just snap on you?
Yeah. Let's go for lower back injuries.
Right.
Where can people see what you got going on, Javier?
Follow me on my social media. I got JVRX, TikTok, Instagram, and The Action Village. Those are where I've been posting most of my stuff.
Say that one more time.
I got my YouTube channel, The Action Village, where I've been posting weekly videos of what I've been doing. And, for more detailed stuff, you guys can follow me on JVAIRX on Instagram and TikTok.
Okay.
That's nice. Perfect. So on YouTube, go to Action Village and then follow Javier, and then go to official Crusty channel and follow us.
Yeah. Right. And you can see this podcast for all. Share with your friends.
I'll share with all my friends. Starting with Clint.
Share it with me.
Perfect. And we're gonna start putting up movies, all our high res movies. We're up-resed all our movies. We're gonna start putting them on, I think, Clint, this on our YouTube channel or something.
Yeah, I started a membership, so you can actually pay for the membership. You get the podcasts earlier, and then there'll also be periodically, maybe we'll do some lives to get in there and chat with everybody. And so they'll get podcasts early, and all the first, what do you have, the first 5 up-resed of the Crusty movies?
I got 1, 2, and 3. I got 1, 2, and 3 in high def right now, up-res, and I'm working on 4 and 5. So yeah, we'll put up all the movies for you to watch, and then as we start going through our raw footage, maybe that's a place for some of the X-Files, because we have plenty of X-Files, and
I've been watching those. I've been watching those.
Got a lot of funny stuff that we're finding in our old tapes that we haven't seen for years, so we don't even know what's in them.
Oh, that's awesome.
You have to be very careful with that, Javier. We're not.
Those tapes. Well, I know when you guys put that helmet cam on me, I remember I went and took a leak and I forgot I had the camera on. So yeah, that might be a little bit embarrassing.
I have to censor lots of stuff.
The funniest thing
Clint gets to see everything. Yeah,
we give Clint these raw tapes where we've been going through, and I'm like, some of that stuff I watch, I'm like, God, I was a little fucking instigating little bastard right now. Running around, guy, fucking do this, John, let's go. I'm like, what a bastard.
Well, you're gonna have to study so you can bring that back.
Oh, I ain't scared. You know what I mean? I don't tell people to do stupid shit, and I don't tell people to do not really shit I wouldn't do, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, not that bad. All right, we're signing off, everybody. Thanks for watching, and if you want to see the podcast early, you can join the membership. It's $199 right now per month, and maybe we'll add different levels to it in the future, but that's what it is now. Anyway, thanks for sticking it through this extra long podcast with Javier.
Thanks, Javier.
See you guys.
All right, we'll see you soon.
See you guys.